Washington Post columnist Jason Reid had a column, and the headline says Washington Wizards should think about John Wall's ink before signing him to a max deal. And then I started to hear the reaction to this, where I think people thought Jason Reid, probably a middle-aged white guy who was looking at John Wall and his tats, and that's not the case because Jason, a younger African-American columnist, and that's why I thought it was interesting with what he was saying. But Jason joins us now. Summarize the column if you can for us, Jay.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good, man.
Well, I think people, well, no, I don't think I know this for a fact. People got drawn in with the headline, which is not what I write. I mean, I write what goes under the headline. And the column is not about John Wall's tattoos in and of itself, just about being about tattoos. The column is about this. There are enough basketball questions about John Wall that the Wizards should give the Wizards pause as to whether or not they really want to give this guy whatever contract extension he wants, be it a max deal or whatever it takes to make him happy. Then when you add to just the basketball questions about him that have not been answered yet, he does a flip-flop on tattoos and goes from 0 to 60 from having none to displaying what he displayed on Instagram. To me, there are questions about who this guy is as a basketball player, and there are questions about, okay, what are the Wizards getting if they tie their ship to this guy long term? Now, I think a lot of people, well, again, most people that jumped in this column, they focused on the tattoos. I went to great lengths at the beginning of the column, I believe in the first 5 to 6 paragraphs, to make it clear this isn't about the merits of body art. It's not a referendum on body art. And John Wall has the right to do whatever he wants to do with his body. But he is a franchise player of this team. He has said he deserves a maximum contract. And when you say that you're going to have a clean-cut image, and then you do a 180 on it, and you go to 0 to 60 on tattoos, to me that raises questions. Now, as far as I'm concerned, nobody else can have questions about that. They can think that John is going to be a surefire Hall of Fame talent. That's fine. I have questions, and that's what I wrote.
But Kevin Durant, by all accounts, considered a great kid, and he's covered with tats.
Absolutely, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just trying to understand the tattoo element of this.
For me, the tattoo element is this: when you come into the league, and there were quotes where John was asked about his image and how he wanted to portray himself, and in quotes, both before the leading up to the draft and after his first year in the league, he made it clear that I want to have a clean-cut image because I want to help myself be marketable. So when you then go from that to getting tatted up, that's your right. But to me, you go from 0 to 60 on that issue, you're flip-flopping on that issue, and you're saying you deserve a maximum contract when you haven't, in my mind, proven that you're that type of player. I look at it as a guy who, okay, he's comfortable now. He feels that the team has no choice but to give him, whether it's a maximum contract or whatever it takes to make him happy. So now, he's dumping all that clean-cut stuff that he was just selling at the beginning, and now he's going to be who he is, which is fine. But if you're going to do that and you haven't proven yourself yet, I have questions. Kevin Durant, a couple of summers ago, people were taken aback a little bit by all the tattoos. But at the end of the day, this is all about performance, okay? Kevin Durant has proven that he is potentially an all-time talent in this league. Years ago, when people were ripping LeBron James, I kept writing, look, let's appreciate this guy for the greatness of his game because it's something we've never seen before. LeBron is all tatted up. It's not an issue for me. If John had come into the league wearing tats, or if John had not brought up or if he had danced around the issue of whether or not he wanted to get tats, he made it clear he wanted a clean-cut image to help his marketing. Or if John had established himself as a great player, I probably don't write what I wrote. But he hasn't established himself. He did a 180 on this issue, and for me, also given the Wizards' history with the people they've tied themselves to, for me, it gives me pause, like, okay, who is this guy?
If he was more successful, then you would co-sign on what he's done. And right?
Yeah. Well, if he were more successful, if he had proven that he was what he was taken to be a number one draft pick who was going to transform the organization, if he did the 180 on the tattoo issue, I probably would have been like, you know what? The guy said one thing and then he's doing another, but the bottom line is he has proven himself himself on the court, and that's really the only thing that matters. But that's not the case. Not only has he not proven himself, he's also done a 180 right before basically he has the team over the barrel. They have no choice but to give him whatever it's going to take to make him happy, because the reality of it is they can't afford to get in a position with a guy they've invested this heavily in to say, okay, well, you know, John, we're going to make you do it for a full season before we give you the money. Then he gets miffed, and then you have to deal with a whole year of, okay, well, where is this guy going to go? All the leak reports. Remember, this is an organization that was digging out from the rubble of Gilbert Arenas. They gave this guy a parade before he had done anything. And now they're in a position where they essentially have to give him, whether it's a max contract or whether it's a contract, whatever it takes to make him happy, they have to give it to him. And what I'm saying is this organization has repeatedly tied themselves to people who they should not have. I'm not saying definitively that John is not someone they should tie themselves to, but again, you say you deserve a max contract, you haven't proven yourself. You say you're all about a clean-cut image, you go from 0 to 60 on tats before you've proven yourself. I have questions.
He's Jason Reid, Washington Post columnist, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. First thing I thought of, and this wasn't fair to the column, but first thing I thought of was last year in the Sporting News with the column that questioned Colin Kaepernick's ability to lead because he had tattoos. Now, of course, we didn't look too close because we realized they were Bible verses that were on his arms. There was no gang slogans. There was nothing else there. No lyrics to rap songs. It was Bible verses here. John Wall off the floor. Trouble at all? Any concern with that? With who he is as a person? Now, he flip-flopped on saying, I want a clean-cut image. Still have a clean-cut image even if you have tats. I'm fine with that. I just don't know who the kid is off the floor. That would be the only concern I would have. If I'm going to max out on him, I get it. You know, he's done what he's supposed to do. He's played the game. Now I'm going to have to, pay him. But I don't know what kind of kid he is. Any concern with that? We saw Gilbert Arenas with what kind of guy he would be off the floor.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. When people, we really don't know any of these guys. I mean, we know them in as much as they let us know them. What we know is what they do on the court. And or the football field or the baseball field, and he has not done it yet. He's had two very good months, but to me, you're talking about 2 months in a 3-year span. That's not enough. As far as off the floor, the point for me about the clean cut image was, look, I don't care if you want a clean cut image. I don't care if you have tattoos, but when you say one thing and do another. In the world I live in, when you say one thing and do another, it raises questions. And my major issue with John is that when he goes out and says he, deserves a max contract, and when he flip-flops on things and goes from 0 to 60, you don't know what you're getting yet. For anyone, any Wizards fan, I don't mind people killing me on Twitter. I don't mind people being angry and saying, whatever they want to say. But looking at the situation logically, anyone who steps back from it and really assesses it, if you can honestly look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I know exactly who John Wall is. I know what he's going to do over the next 5 to 6 years, and the Wizards should go all in on giving this guy this money. Well, if you can do that, you're at a different place than I am.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think he's a great player, and I understand trepidation there with the Wizards that you have to give these guys max deals. That's part of the problem with it. Is he going to lead you? Is a point guard going to lead you? Is he going to be a guy who's going to be there for the next 6 years? Through thick and thin. I don't know that. But what are the other options here, Jace?
Well, again, as I point out in the column, there really is no option from the Wizards' standpoint if they feel that, okay, here we have them, we can't be without them. They were 5-28 without him. And, also, Dan, I've written that John clearly has ability and he's done things. This whole column was about trying to bring to light the fact that there are so many questions about this guy. Even though the Wizards are in a position where they probably have to accommodate him to keep him happy, it's not as simple as people think right now. There are a ton of questions surrounding this guy, most of which occur on the basketball court. I mean, you look at the great young point guards in this game, he's not one of them.
No.
Now, he had 2 good months, and he has potential and all that, and eventually, maybe he will be a great player, but he's not there yet. And again, decision-making, who he is, all that type of stuff. I'm just asking the question, would you be comfortable giving this guy $80 million right now?
He's also keeping his tats where, just like Durant, that they're not exposed on his arms, I believe. So
right, but but then you go show it on Instagram. So I mean, look, you can't have it both ways. I mean, if you want to do the business tattoos thing, okay, fine. But you go show it on Instagram. So what are you really saying? You want he and again, he shouldn't hide who he is. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. He should not. He should be who he is. But when you're the face of a franchise, when you have said that you deserve something that only 3 point guards in the game currently have, guys who are much more accomplished than you, and when you flip-flop on an issue and go from 0 to 60 on it, well, okay, I've got questions about it, and that's what I wrote about.
Well, hang in there. Keep fighting the good fight, Jace. I saw a lot of the comments, man. They're coming after you.
That's okay. The one, Dan, before I leave, I say one thing. People have even brought up racism. Two of my brothers have a ton of body art. I would run through a wall from them. I wrote it, and I said it on Twitter, and I've said it repeatedly on the radio and other shows. This is not about tattoos. It's about performance. It's about what you say when you're in the spotlight, and it's about who the Wizards are tying themselves.
But Jace, can you be racist if you're black talking about another black athlete? I'm trying to follow this here.
Well, that's what some people have thrown at me, that I'm being racist and that I'm tearing down another black person because I chose to write about the fact that I have questions about this player. I don't follow that logic. I don't follow that. Not logic, I should say. I don't follow that line of thinking. I am a black person. I'm a black man before anything else. I mean, that's I came in this world as a black child. I'll go out this world as a black man. So when you try to say that someone's being racist because they raise questions about a person's performance and his decision making and the things that he says publicly, I don't get that. There's a disconnect there for me. But you know what? Bottom line on the whole thing is people are entitled to their opinions, and it's what drives what you do. It's what drives what I do, and I got no problem with driving a conversation. I just like people to be intellectually honest about what was written and just be fair.
All right. Jace, good to visit with you. Thanks for joining us.
All right, Dan, anytime.
Jason Reid, Washington Post columnist.